But let's talk about World Superbike. We got some, more MotoGP, more Moto2 riders coming in. You guys, when I say you guys, Reese and Lewis, you guys have been following the sport and been in the sport longer than I have. From what I can tell, it looks like this is the most MotoGP or Moto2 riders I've seen in World Superbike paddock. I don't know, Reese, when you got there, if if that's a good thing or not, because now folks coming from different classes, it's going to be harder to get into World Superbike when you got people leaving MotoGP and Moto2. Baltazari's coming back to Superbike next year. He's did like a world tour with all these other classes and stuff like that. Is it a good thing for these former MotoGP riders to be in to be in World Superbike? And I mean, it's like at least top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good. I mean, we always used to say sometimes World Superbike is where the old GP riders go to retire and die.
Right, but
But
not a young, not a
right,
23, 24, 25.
right. So I mean, it's a good thing. It just shakes up the paddock. I mean, you got it's a lot of things that are moving pieces. You got MotoGP's guys going World Superbike. You got World Superbike guys coming over here to MotoAmerica. So you got a bunch of things that's in play, and it's just going to shake up the paddock, and it's just going to make the series more interesting. So I think it is a good thing. It's just going to keep the sport growing and actually show some different views for people.
Okay, all right. TJ, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm excited to see next year the Lowe's brothers are gonna win everything.
The most
Well, I
crashes.
mean, I do like the shake up, and you see a couple of riders soon to become aging out. Like some riders again up in it, so it's good to see like the
Drop
shake
some
up.
names, TJ. Come on, Vandermark. Who else?
Bautista, there's a couple of those guys, and a big key thing though is that Top Rock left too. So like it's like now a lot of fans that's probably watching World Superbike because of Top Rock is gonna be like, all right, where's Top Rock going? So they might lose a lot of fans to World Superbike because of this. But how do you keep it? So just bring a younger crowd, some MotoGP races over here. So I think it's a good thing. And I think it is confirmed that Darren Bender's coming to Moto America. Is that true? So I think I heard.
I haven't heard if Darren Bender is coming, but
You might
it
want to
is
try Vandermark.
Yeah.
right.
Uh,
It's tough, Lewis. What are your thoughts on those riders, and is it fair? Like TJ mentioned Bulaga, and we all saying Bulaga is going to run away with it next year, unless some of these other MotoGP riders might stop him and stuff like that. We see that he looks like he may ride Marquez's bike in one of these rounds coming up and stuff like that. You know, is Bulaga getting showed the proper love from Ducati? Is he being promised that he might be able to get a MotoGP ride? Is this just a pat on the back to say, hey, we'll let you ride this bike? And as a rider, and he was in Moto2, I'm pretty sure he wanted to go to MotoGP before World Superbike. What are your thoughts overall on all these young riders coming into World Superbike these days, and then Bulaga's situation with Ducati?
I mean, the guys going to World Superbike, I think, increases the quality of World Superbike. To see some popular names from the MotoGP paddock going over to a World Superbike is a benefit to World Superbike because, like I said, I feel that there's a lack of stars in World Superbike right now. There was two big stars, one of them is gone, and now we need new stars. We need new young stars that can go there and really shake it up and bring some new life into that series. Alvaro Bautista again on the older side of old, Danilo Petrucci on the older side of old. I mean, these are well-known names, but it's kind of time to see some new young blood coming up and being competitive. And that's one of the things that I'm worried about World Superbike. One, we've already noted that the attendance this year hasn't been that great. They've only did 10 rounds, which for a world-class championship is not enough. I mean, 10 rounds is not enough. MotoGP is doing 22 rounds, and World Superbike is doing less than half of that. Like, that's not acceptable. Like, World Superbike's got to figure that out. They got to expand. They got to go to more regions. Like, they got to come to South America. They got to come to Latin America. They have to come to the U.S. They can't just be the European Championship with one race in Australia. Like that doesn't work. They need to go to Asia. They need to go to Malaysia. They need to go to all these other markets. I just hope that it doesn't, again, I've worried about this for a while now, that it doesn't become the Nicola Buliga show. I hope that Ika Lecuona will actually be able to compete against his own teammate on the Ducati, because
Right.
I don't see Danilo Petrucci jumping on the BMW and lighting the world on fire. He's a great rider, but I don't see him lighting the world on fire on that bike. Miguel Oliveira, if he gets through a season without being taken out 18 times, that's a win by itself. Maybe he left the MotoGP paddock because there was a bounty out on him because he just couldn't get away from people's front tires.
Do you remember those old cartoons you might where they, it was like, they were doing future cars, and there's one car that, they have a car that the bumper doesn't get scratched.
Yeah.
The whole car is destroyed, but the bumper is pristine. Can we put something around?
I mean, seriously. So with the guys that are coming over from MotoGP, I hope they do something. I mean, Jake Dixon and Chantra going to Honda. We talked about it last week. I think Honda's insane for wiping the slate completely clean, just as their riders are actually becoming really competitive.
You saw Xavi the last round?
Yeah, like that was like, I don't know what Honda's thinking. Maybe they see something in Jake Dixon and Chantra that I don't see. I don't know.
All those guys racing Moto 2.
Maybe they're hoping that they bring that Moto 2 energy and start banging bars and pushing people wide and doing all that crazy Moto 2 stuff there. But I still don't think Honda has the bike to be at the very front with the Ducati yet, or even with the BMW. But I still think they'll be competitive next year with the BMW, just because BMW's got a full stable of new guys also.
Right.
That don't know the bike, don't know the dynamics. And as good as a rider you are, you still need to make the bike yours. Yeah,
right.
Learn that bike, make those adjustments that work with your body, with your riding style.
Yeah, I think that Yamaha, I think next year Yamaha has a shot in the World Superbike. This is the talent, and pretty much everyone is staying on the same bike. I think the only person that's going there is Manzi. I think everybody else is repeat offenders on the Yamaha and Ducati. I mean, I don't want to say Kawasaki's not there, but they didn't show enough this year that they could be there next year. But I think Yamaha, because what's his name? The other rider on the Agatelli,
for what? For Yamaha?
Yamaha, he's doing fairly well. I think he's finishing.
Locatelli.
Yeah, thank you, Locatelli. Yeah, he's finishing fourth, and I think fourth or fifth in the championship or something like that. So I think Honda has a pretty good shot next year. And
yeah, but we got Xavi next year.
Yep.
Xavi.
Yeah, they got Xavi Vieje and Locatelli on the same
team. Yeah.
Because Johnny Ray retires.
Yeah. And then
because Honda's smoking crack and just let all their good riders leave.
Yeah, which is
stupid.
It is crazy, but I think it's a good look to have these guys in the sport. Hopefully next year, it'll be different as far as the attendance and stuff like that. But as far as the competitive side of World Superbike, it's cool to see, because in theory, you got 12 riders that can probably fight up front. I mean, fight for second down, because I think it's going to be runaway with Buliga for next season. Anything we missed? Anything you want to add before we get out of here, guys?
No, I got a question for Reese that I didn't think about before.
Oh, God.
No.
How did you get through customs?
The token black guys got to get through now.
So we know next year the baggers are going to go race in MotoGP, 6 races, 1 here in the US and 5 in Europe. Do you think it would have been better if baggers went to World Superbike instead of MotoGP, just thinking about what baggers have done here in the US with more stock type racing versus prototype racing? I understand they're going to get a bigger audience in GP, but I think they would bring audience to World Superbike that doesn't necessarily go to World Superbike, versus MotoGP guys. They're still going to sell out 100, 150, 160,000 seats. Are they going to sell 168,000 seats just because baggers are there? Like, I don't see the numbers that we see here, when you see the 20 or 30% higher attendance when baggers
Right.
come, I don't see that equating to MotoGP. If MotoGP this weekend was in Malaysia and they had 190,000 people, I don't think they're going to have 227,000 people.
Right.
Versus if they were at World Superbike and they had 80,000 people, there is a possibility they could have 110,000 people.
Right. And I like to add, why did they get rid of Moto E to put the baggers in? Because more gas, more oil.
They missed the oil, man. They missed the oil leaks. They missed the blow motors.
Because Moto E had, I believe, 6 rounds.
I mean, I honestly think that it would have been, going to World Superbike because, it's going to bring in attendance, right? And
Yeah.
it's bringing the attendance into MotoAmerica.
Yeah.
It brought that attendance way up. So I think if it went to World Superbike, like you said, like Lewis said, with a stock bike versus a prototype, you know, it just seems a lot better. I mean, you can't really boost up MotoGP, but the only thing I can see them doing is because you're going to get more eyes on it, more developers on it, where
Right.
they can actually kind of branch off and maybe put an into World Superbike or do something else where more teams of that kind or that caliber can come into play and want to actually try it because it is something that is working. Yeah,
Right.
it's a hell of a lot of money. I mean, it's like I think it was like $1.5 million just to build one of them damn things.
That's gonna. Yeah. It's pretty crazy
Empty
to see.
bags.
Fuck.
Say again.
I said fuck. It's a lot of
That's a,
money.
that's a, they're just empty bags. I'm just kidding, but it's just like, damn.
And is that a situation where the fans are requesting it, Harley signing the big check? Because I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, to see, we already say it's pretty impressive to what we've seen happen in Motor America with the turnout it's been, and to leapfrog to MotoGP and not World Superbike, or some of these other, and maybe, or maybe we may see it down the road in the future.
Well,
Never
the
know.
te-
You might.
well, the test was really last year's MotoGP to this year's MotoGP, and the test was in the paddock here at Coda.
Mhm.
They saw how many attendees they had last or in 2024 when they had the baggers versus 2025 when they didn't have the baggers, and that was the test. That was a litmus test. Does this bring fans?
Right.
2024, they had Harley Davidson there. Harley Davidson invested heavily. We had a huge attendance at Coda. This year, they didn't have the baggers. Harley didn't attend, and you saw that I mean, you weren't there both years, but I was, and the attendance was significantly down from the year before when the baggers were there. So that was kind of the litmus test for MotoGP to see the amount of people that kind of rally around this, this what looks like a
Right.
sideshow, but it is a legitimate form of racing. Like these guys are legitimate racers. These bikes are crazy fast, and I think in Europe when they see 800-pound bagger going a half a second slower than a Moto 2 bike, it might be a little bit eye opening to some of these guys.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I don't know if we've ever compared on the show the times on Moto 2. I know we talked about Super Sport in America and stuff like that. I mean, granted, I guess Coda would be the only track that we could kind of use as a good barometer, since we're not racing over in any other tracks in the rest of the world and stuff like that. I lost my train of thought with that, guys. Anything you want to add, and we'll piece.
Yeah.
I had something good, but
Uh, I was
um,
just saying, the baggers are keeping up with the super sports. They had Kyle Wyman uh, doing a time with, I forget, someone on the super sport, and I think he did faster time than him, and it's just crazy what the baggers can do. And
I
some
mean,
people
I
don't
say
know that
this
a car can do that.
right, but I'll say this: the what the baggers bring to the sport, and I seen it on Sunday at Jersey's round when we were packing. They're actually like how racing was back in the day. Like crazy, wild. Like they were in the paddock, literally, they won, and they're in the paddock late at night doing burnout, blowing tires, drinking a beer with one hand and hold. I'm like, these dudes is nuts, and they're living it up. But that's what racing is. It's about fun. It's about the whole team having fun. You celebrate as a team, but it what Harley invested in their racing is just like it's insane amount of money. It's insane. It's like we just got money to throw at this.
They're doing burnouts, and you guys are measuring the leftover oil.
Pretty much. Leftover oil. Like, what can we do for next year? Like, they're out there having fun. So it
So
is. It's something.
they're bringing fun back to the paddock.
So
That's what it is.
a real quick search at Coda, baggers are about 5 seconds a lap slower than Moto 2 bikes and one
Okay.
second a lap faster than Moto 3 bikes.
Huh.
So they're right in that sweet spot between a single cylinder and a four cylinder, a three cylinder. So they're right there where a two cylinder should be.
And listen, with that said, give me a skinny girl every day, all day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd rather crash on a Moto 3 bike than on a bagger.
Than a bagger, boy. Jesus Christ, that's gonna hurt.
I will say that the things I like to see on the baggers is when they spin up the rear and go sideways, because they're the only, they seem to like they can just straighten out and keep going. Other guys will high side and flip off the bike. These guys go sideways and that thing will straighten out.
And here's another thing to take into account. The baggers were racing at Coda on Dunlops.
Huh.
In the GP series, from my understanding, they're supposed to be on Pirellis. So is
they're
that
about to
good?
be
Is
dragging
that good for
elbows.
2 seconds, Reese?
I plead the fifth. I'm out.
They're about to be dragging elbows on the baggers on Pirelli tires.
No
I
doubt.
think Dunlop's time is ticking.
It sounds like it, and if more people get their say or get overseas to get on these Pirellis that seem to got all the Spider-Man Pirellis, it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's crazy, and we'll talk about this. I'm gonna wrap up because we're kind of going over it a little bit, but yeah, I'll leave that for another time. The tire war. And how much of a difference would make in the sport if we could all be on the same playing field.